every classroom, every school, to and through graduation. And then if we take it to our school level, our school's mission is to create a high quality, cultural, relevant, and supportive learning environment where we are inspired to become Lunsford strong. The School 19 community will demonstrate our core values of kindness, leadership, and dedication. As School 19, scholars, families, and school staff and community members will work collaboratively to meet this goal. We will develop the knowledge, skills, and practices needed to have a positive impact on the world. And our vision is, we are Lunsford strong, we are kind, we are leaders, we are dedicated, we persevere, we will change the world. So, now on to our agenda. Just a quick welcome. We're going to review our indicators. We're going to review our data. We're going to develop an action plan in our work groups. Actually, we're going to revisit the action plans that we came up with last time and then make some adjustments based on what we need. And we're going to talk a little bit about ELT and then closing and next steps. So, I'm sure you probably know these like the back of your hand, but these are indicators again. School safety, grades 3 through 8 ELA, all students. 3 through 8 ELA, all students, and that's the growth measure. 3 through 8 ELA, all students, core subjects performance index. 3 through 8 math, all students, same thing. Grade 4 and 8 science, all students, core subject performance index. 3 through 8 chronic absenteeism for all students. And ELP, which is our SO students, all students as well. And level 2, the ones that we actually chose, was plan and implement a community school model. So just a quick update on that. We are officially a community school. So the last piece of the puzzle is that I'm waiting for community onto our day. That gets us up to the 178. And because the school day is just naturally longer in Rochester, we'll definitely clear the 200 extra hours. So right now, this is our plan and how to utilize this time, but we're going to talk about that here in this group as well. So right now, we've brainstormed some clubs, some academics, whether we're talking about some remediation or some extensions, social-emotional piece, and the use of partners to support that time. Please feel free to jump in. So our school priorities have not changed, but what we did was we aligned them with the superintendent's big 3 rocks. So our first one is community engagement, and it aligns with Superintendent Dave's rock 1, changing the narrative. So our goal is to go out there, make the community a part of our school, make our school a part of the community, and therefore change the narrative of what people think about Dr. Charles C. Lunsford School number 19. Our next one is our instructional model, which is the CCTM, Collaborative Co-Teaching Model, and it aligns with Superintendent's rock number 2, which is a laser-like focus on teaching and learning. And our last priority, Restorative Practices, and it aligns with Superintendent Dave's 3rd rock of unsurpassed collaboration. So school data, I'll give you a minute to digest that, and then you can just talk about any noticings, wonderings, or questions. So a few of those numbers have increased. Our enrollment has increased slightly because these were numbers before we actually opened our doors this school year. Daily attendance, it went up from the previous school year. Total number of suspensions went down by about 50%. Our L population is about 13 students, and that has actually increased to the point where we're going to need a 2nd teacher. Our SPED population, about 114, and that's increased slightly, which is about 29%. And economically disadvantaged, and that number is from last year, because I haven't done the numbers for this year so far, but last year it was 305, which is about 80% of our population. So I know this is hard to see, but I'll give you a minute to look at it. This is our Ela Scores. So it starts from 2013, which which is here, and it goes all the way up to present day, which is here, and it's talking about proficiency, the number of 3s and 4s that we had. So if you look at third grade from last year, we had 10.9% 3s and 4s. At third grade, we went up to 44.1. Fourth grade last year, we had 5%, we remained the same. At fifth grade, we had 0% at 3s and 4s, we went up to 5.4%. At sixth grade, we had 0% and we remained at 0%. At seventh grade, we had 0% last year, we went up to 4. And then at eighth grade, we had 0% and we went up to 5%. So quite a bit of growth there. Still not the numbers we want to see, but definitely moving in the right direction. And our overall proficiency rate for this current, last school year, was 10.1, and that was up from 2.9. And I'll give you a second to look at math. So again, overall, we did show some pretty good growth at about 3% from last year, from the year before to this current past last year. And then this is our science results. And remember, all 3 of these are indicators. So we went up overall from 47.8% to 54.5%. And I must also say that we had no students perform at the 1 level, a level 1 in science. So before we talk about our work groups, I did want to just briefly talk about our indicators, because last year was our first year of receivership. And to date, we have met every single one of our indicators from last year. And we have scored the highest amongst cohort 2 receivership schools in terms of percentage gain toward our indicators, which is 88%. So we are in a very good position. So this year, what I want to do is just strengthen what it is we're doing and tweak what it is we're doing, because we're apparently doing something very right. So I'm just going to need some help on these 3 these 3 work groups, because remember, there are priorities and they're aligned with the district ROC. So what I would like to spend our time doing is looking at the action items that we created from May and seeing if those action items are still where we want to be, or see if we need to tweak them. So at this time, is there anyone who is not up there, or you would like to switch the group in which you're working? No, no, and no?
There's people that aren't here that are up there as well as those people.
So we're going to leave them there. I'm only working with the people that are here.
Just for today, the people that are present here. Okay.
Right. So I'm asking if there's anyone who is not up there that's in this room, or if you are up there, you would like to switch the work group that you are currently in up there. Okay. So for the first round, we're going to take about 10 minutes to just look at the action items that your team came up with before. So if we can have the instructional model team sit here, the restorative practices there, and community engagement here. I'm not sure if I have enough for everyone, so you might have. Oh, sure do.
Thank you.
I'll get you a help with it. So for about the next 10 minutes,
Thank you.
we're just going to review what we have here, and then we'll come together and share out about the things we want to keep, the things we think we need to sort of shift directions in. And then we'll move on to our next task. Anyone need a pen or something to write with?
What are the names indicating? Are those people responsible for certain things, or?
I think they were going to help with the teaching of teachers how to engage with families.
The ones below it.
Yes.
Helping with that. Okay. And then Keisha and Sheila, are they?
Isn't Keisha gone now?
Yeah, Keisha's no longer with us, so that's
Okay.
going to be
Oh,
a
yeah,
change
that's-
on there. And I can be responsible for the notes once we come up with whatever it is we want to keep in here. So can we go one item at a time? Amanda, you want to guide us through?
Sure.
Thank you. You're so awesome at it. That's how I can do it. So diplomatic.
You do that well.
Thanks. So branding is first. We've got a couple things on the implementation plan. We talked about t-shirts. We talked about the district video. We talked about social media and having special events like area parades and things. I still think all of that's important personally. I don't know about anybody else.
I think I agree. I think I wrote the continue or
Yeah.
to follow up and flush them out so that we can get
Are the
it going.
t-shirts ongoing? You guys have t-shirts? I mean, are they for sale, or do you guys have to order them, or how does that work?
I have t-shirts for all of you guys, by the
Are
way.
they? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
That's for a logo, so I know
Because that's what I was going to say, because
In
I'm
progress.
ready to buy one here, and
You're on the CE team, so after we're done with this, I'll just take you down to the office and
yeah, but you know, this is the whole thing about buying them.
I
and I'm
know.
really,
so
Want to
so
raise money for the.
I mean, seriously, like we need some funds because our PTO or PTA hasn't been strong. So all those traditional fundraisers that you would do, like we don't have those resources.
gotta buy a parfait tomorrow.
So it's on Wednesday, I think.
Oh, Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday. That's right. Wednesday.
It's on Wednesday.
$1.
So is that something we want to move forward with? So I don't know what you think, Amanda, but I'm thinking like this is a lot. So do we look at these and decide if we want to go forward with this too, or do we want to take this and flush it out and make it into
Break it into
timelines for each item on there? Connor, Sheila, what do you think? John?
Well, are you still going to be doing your 3 events?
We
3 to
have-
5 events?
we
So
have-
aren't they already like planned? Aren't they already in the works? So isn't it like a
They
thing
are
that's already in there?
on the calendar, but I think the piece that's missing that we have to talk about is how do we bring the community in? Because we're doing them within our school community, but how do I get my neighbors across the street to come over and join us? How do I get the kids from Flint to come over and do roller skating with us on this night? So how do I'm struggling with that piece of it. Like, well, I mean that's part of it. So if we
Food
can get a little
always
of these
brings people in.
fundraisers going, we can advertise food fall.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like roller skating is a good event. You know, and you can get them all in the gym and the families, and you know, and you could use the gym because we have that guy come in, Burma or Berman or whatever he is, and that's what, you know, that could be one of the events, and can have a little like snacks and stuff and a few things. And I think the community likes roller skating. I don't know about, you know, I know our kids like roller skating, and I don't know
We
about
did it through Greater Rochester Health Foundation before, right? 'Cause I think Mata.
I was gonna say not while I was here, but probably before that.
It was one of our recess things.
But
our
even
recess-
if, you know,
Yes.
I don't know, maybe it's too many things, but maybe even if you incorporate like roller skating and then like an ice cream social, where that everybody, you know, or not even roller skating, just ice cream social, because that's, everybody likes ice cream. I mean, parents, kids, everybody.
Just to
You know-
backtrack, have the shirts been ordered yet?
Well, I ordered shirts for staff, so I
staff,
haven't
okay.
ordered shirts for sale.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So I don't know what the 3 things you have, but ice
So what
cream
I-
always goes over.
So what I can do is I can run and get it, or I can upload it. But we do already have our calendar published for our monthly school events. So I'm thinking if we look at that and we look at 3 events that we think we could advertise to the greater community, not just our school community.
Now, is there any way, I mean,
So
you can incorporate our Thanksgiving community event into your thing, because that's definitely community. The whole community contributes to the Thanksgiving event, and it's open to all the community. It's open to you guys. I mean, you guys help us. We help them. I mean, that's a big event. I mean, and it's massive. And I think half the community comes. I mean, you're talking anywhere from 400 to 600 people. So you know the community's there. You know, and we don't really even advertise for it. It's all through the churches and, you know, through the...
This is held where?
At Flint Street, at our recreation center and gymnasium. And it's big. And it also, we give a coat giveaway at the same time. So they come, they get a free coat, and they get Thanksgiving dinner. So they can just come for a coat, they can come for dinner, they can come for both. And we usually have more than enough food and more than enough coats for everyone.
So what if we take like that event, because you're right, so what if we take that event and we amplify it a little bit more? So I could definitely do more on my end in terms of communicating that to like the greater community. We can put it on our social media. We can maybe even have some kids perform.
Yep, they could do that just like, and you know, because we have like a little DJ go, you know, like the little, and you can make announcements during it, you know what I mean, beforehand, during, you know, but you're going to have a flux of people, you know, because we have the 2 serving sessions.
We could
you know.
raffle off some school shirts.
Whatever, you know what I mean? Because there's definitely a lot of your kids and parents there.
Yeah.
I mean, you were there. So.
Yeah, you're right, and I could definitely do a better job, and I could use some help with that because that's not my area of strength, which is why it's one of my goals. I need to grow in that area.
You know, and I'll just reach out to Miss McIntyre there, because she like oversees it all and she does the meetings.
And I can also talk to the teachers more about contributing more. I mean, not just like financially, but time as well.
All I know is she has so many volunteers. I mean, she makes me sit back. She don't even let me do it. She's like, nope. So
But I want our teachers to get in there, like.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell her that too, so we can make it like, you know, maybe we'll just have a teacher station. You know what I mean? And she can use her volunteers for everything else, and we can just have all the teachers on their own station, and then the community, the kids, everybody would see, oh, that's Miss, you know, so that kind of a thing. We could definitely do that.
So can we say that's going to be one of our events? Like we'll work harder to.
I mean, it's
share
definitely
that.
a big
Sounds like a
event.
really natural fit with a lot going for it already.
And it's already, you know, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a big community event. All the churches are there, all the people. And like I said, it's a coat giveaway too. So
Right.
And,
Thanksgiving?
yeah, it's usually like the Friday before. I think it's like the Thursday before Thanksgiving or 2 Thursday. You know, it's definitely before Thanksgiving. But you know, we meet. They start meeting. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised it's not on our calendar. They meet early on that, so I'll know when they're
And then they
meeting.
send me an email inviting me.
Yes, you're invited too usually. Yeah. So yeah. So as soon as we get that email, we'll know, and then we'll.
And I would love to share it with the Southwest community too, because we're right down the street, and like she said, tons of food, tons of coats.
Yeah, and we had so many coats left over. We actually had to go and give them back. You know what I mean? Back to the needy people. Just because we had so many that weren't taken. Because we kind of like one coat. We don't let them go crazy at first. But we had a lot left over, and there's always tons of food.
Right.
So, and like I said, all of the community I know was there. So that's one. I mean, that's one, and then the other two. And like I said, you can always use the gym for whatever we need.
Which we haven't traditionally done.
No, I know, but
I would love to.
as long as there's not basketball or any things going in there, so we could do that. But and I still say ice cream social is good too. It's an easy one.
So, Amanda, I know I've been trying to have you in, and I've canceled on you to do the movement piece. But could we do something that maybe isn't ice cream, but fruit freeze pops or healthy, cool items?
You could have
And
yogurt.
combine that with like outdoor play, like, because we have the field there, like maybe on a nice, we can use the gym, like we can have some indoor spaces and some outdoor spaces for safe play. Or
I wouldn't use, I don't know if you're thinking to like kind of use what we were talking about for movement in the classroom for that. I probably wouldn't, because that's more geared on like teaching teachers how to incorporate movement in their classroom. but we could certainly partner, I mean, either our team or Playworks or anything, if we wanted to put some kind of more like a recreational event together with like fun refreshments and stuff. I don't see why that wouldn't be.
Because what I'm thinking is,
Do an adult play workshop. With community and adults and parents.
Absolutely.
Come in and play. We have that, we're starting to do that at City, like one Friday out of the month, an adult play day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't know how good it's gonna go for Bob. So, but maybe if it's one of your things, you know, bringing the kids and the parents.
okay,
But I think that would be, I don't want to say easy to put together, but relatively easy to put together.
so too, what if we
that
had
would be,
like 3,
Especially if you have
Stations.
Playworks.
well, especially with Brianna. I'm like so excited about that,
I
by the
know.
way. I was like, yes!
things work out in
That's
mysterious
awesome.
ways, I'll take it.
So, I mean, I feel like between her and everyone, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge in that, in all of that in this group. So I feel like that would be a pretty easy thing to put together.
We're going to take about 1 more minute, then we're just going to share out what we are deciding we want to keep as action items.
Yeah. And you would just have to give me a date if you're gonna use the gym so that I can just make sure it works and there's no programs going on at that time.
So I know we have events scheduled, but we can like shift what the event was, because some of them just say family event. It doesn't like give all the details, so we can shift that out. So we have 2. Do you want to pause on the 3rd one for now and just try and do 2 well, or do you want to do 3 well since we said 5 originally?
Are you gonna do one in the springtime or one? Yeah.
So I'm thinking this one would be the fall, and then if we do one in the winter, and maybe it might be a nice time to do this adult play thing and rotate to different spaces inside, and then one in the spring.
What have you been doing in terms of the spelling bee that you're involved with? You know, the John Lang and 19th Ward, they have a spelling bee once a year. How have you gotten the kids as involved with that as you can, or would that be something you could, maybe in kicking it off, you could have some event?
So in all honesty, no, we haven't done a lot with it in school, but now that we have the ELT time, that can definitely be a club where the kids can go and practice, and the spelling bee can actually happen, the in-house spelling bee can actually happen between that 3:30 to 4:30 time when students are naturally here. And since they're already here, I mean, they'll have the audience of the whole school body. So that's definitely something that we can incorporate into our ELT time. Do you have anyone that would be willing to come in and volunteer to work with school staff around, like the formalities of the spelling? Because I know there are very strict rules, not just, you know, you can get up and spell, like you can't go back and you've said such and such. So do you have anyone that can provide us with some guidance?
Well, John Lang can certainly come in and, you know, give an overview. There is also, I'm not sure if the same person who organized it last year is going to do it this year, but we can get some.
I want to take notes.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, we can get somebody in here. John Lang certainly can come in and talk a bit about it. Now, one of the things that we have as a problem is in previous years we had 2 schools that were K-8, but where we don't have, since 16 has come back to the 19th Ward, it doesn't have 7 and 8 in it anymore. So this would be just up to 6th grade, unless there's a real, you know, if you have a lot of kids in 7 and 8 that want to get involved with it, usually the participation has been less so in the higher grades, but we haven't been including the Wilson Foundation Academy in the spelling bee, just because that's the way it evolved. We had 44, 16, 10, I think 29, and then 19 that were part of it. But
Now you know we've already had winners, John, so we know if we incorporate this into our ELT time, we're just going to take it at a grade level. You know that's what's going to happen, right?
Well, we always want to make things more successful and more extensive. I'll check with John, and we touched on it once before, but I don't think it was at the meeting that you attended the other day there. So anyways, that's one thing to keep in mind.
I sent an email about that. That is going to happen. It's one of our
Okay.
clubs for ELT.
Okay.
And you said really focus on K-6 because there's just not a huge population for the 7th and 8th.
Yeah, I think they usually do, 3 through 6 was what they had
3,
left.
6, okay.
And
All right, I know we're over the 2 minutes. How about 10 seconds and then we'll share? I'm a terrible timekeeper.
really getting, a lot of kids, because they end up having the competition over at the University of Rochester, and I think the winners get a $500 scholarship, and it gets set aside for them for when and if they go off to college. So, it's something that you'd like to see more kids really get worked up over and involved with. So.
All right, so I've taken care of that one, and thank you for bringing it up. That's a perfect club idea.
I was gonna say, can we touch on these two real quick? The strengths to success, it looks like there's a note here that they've already been invited. So is that ongoing?
Yes, and I'm not quite sure how it all goes together with strings, because I see why we want to utilize our strings, because they are probably our most successful organization within our school that brings in the most parents. Those parents are very supportive. But I guess and walk me through, I guess I'm just a little cautious as to continuously utilize the same groups of families, and how can we solicit some other groups?
Depending on what connections they have, maybe it would be worth trying to bring in a couple representatives and doing bring one other parent not from the club, you know what I mean? Because they probably know people and their friends of friends, and maybe they're not your final group, but maybe they're where you start, and then they have some pulling power to get other people in.
Okay.
The other thing is possibly
Right there.
in case closet, kindergarten closet.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind, there is in the first Saturday in June is the Square Fair over in the 19th Ward, and as I had mentioned the other day, it'd be great to get the Strings for Success in there.
They're not the next generation, but
And we've been trying to get more principals and teachers involved with that, so that the community sees them and sees them active and involved in the thing. And then our thought last year was, gee, if we had the Strings of Success, that they can perform in the main program if if we get them in early, but they also could have a few kids at the table where the teachers and principals are. It's a great attraction, attention getter.
What about the mom use of the parent roundtable? Is that connected to the monthly academy meetings? This note isn't clear to me. I'm not exactly sure what
I'm
that
not sure
is.
what it is either.
Okay, maybe table that until we have more information.
I think we talked about having some kind of round table that parents can come to, and the topics would be of their choice.
I do remember that conversation. It wasn't mom specific though, was it?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I mistyped it. I don't know.
Okay. I know Alicia was heavily a part of that conversation. So maybe just find out more. And then the last one was teaching teachers how to engage with teachers and families. I think that's super, super, super important. I know we talked a lot about previous wounds, basically, and struggles with those relationships. So I think that anything we can do to kind of heal and restore those would be awesome. Anyone else agree, disagree, anything to add on that?
Agree. Those names are teachers here.
Well, Cam is Playworks. I don't know
Cam is
Brian
Playworks, right.
and Jamie.
He's no longer with Playworks, so I'm not sure if he's going to be continuing on this team.
Cameron?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that. And Jamie and Brian, were they?
Villa Ford.
Okay.
Well, I know we're gonna be doing the clubs, right, after school,
Yes, we are.
whenever that starts up.
It's coming up quickly. Jen Taranowski's going to be reaching out to you. She's going to be the coordinator for ELT.
Yeah, so we're gonna be
Yes.
doing that
Are we
after school.
updating in the Google Docs form under our action plans or no?
You can if you want, but I was going to take notes specific to this meeting, so you can definitely update there if you like. So can we just come up with like our top 3? Because I just want to make sure we have like
Top
at
3
least-
priorities.
Yes.
I think the event should be almost number 1. Because that's where you're going to get a lot of like personal interaction and have a larger turnout, hopefully. But I also think that they're going to take a little more work. So they need to be made a priority. So it's going to take multiple hands on deck to get those successful.
Family events. What about the parent academy?
I like the idea of that. I think we need, I don't know if we had more information on that. I just know there was more to it, but I do remember liking it because it was very like parent choice oriented, which I think was good.
Right, to have parents come in and like learn
Right.
different things and stuff like
And
that.
that they kind of had like the opportunity to say like what they wanted to learn about. Like they had a say in what was going to be offered, I think was part of the conversation.
So that would just need to be developed on what's going to be our third thing.
You just give my time to eat lunch? Or just have this thing? I'm like, I just did.
And like, I know there was a couple programs I was talking to you about when we met that might go along with this parent academy, like safe on social media and stuff like that, where we're going to be having classes down at the Front Street Rec. I mean, but you could still have them go to that, right? Even if it's rec, even if it's you guys. I mean, like if we had, like if we had these, if that's what they were interested in doing, something like that. I know that we're going to be doing that, and that's kind of like a geared towards older adults too, is they want the community and parents to come in to know what their kids are doing on, social media and the safeties around it and stuff like that. But they don't have somebody to do that yet either. So our program hasn't started on that yet, but I think the next quarter it will. So maybe that's something you guys can use down the road for that. But right now it's not in the works, but I know that's something that they're doing specifically for parents, geared towards parents. And it's probably a good thing for you guys too, to have a class for parents on safe on social media. So that's just one thing I can help with.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. I love the idea. And we talked about this, about using, like, it's a program that Flint is offering or our center is offering, but then we use our building, like they come
Right.
to our parent center to experience it, because that's another thing. I want that room to be used by the community. Like, just sign it out. There's always custodial staff here. Come in and use that space.
school.
I know, right? Come in.
That's exactly that's how we need to be thinking.
Come in and use this space.
Well,
Like, if
you
you
know-
want to do knitting, if you want to do a book circle, it doesn't have to be something school related. It can be interest related.
Well, I know that we push for parent, collaboration too, so I know that they would be all for it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? To have this class for you guys,
Yeah. I
And that's
think-
something that you could definitely use.
Yeah. I think definitely keeping the whole like community school idea in mind. I think that and the parent roundtable thing really would overlap.
You must have a lot of professionals that can do other parenting classes though and stuff like that.
No, we're going to have to probably outsource a lot
Oh,
of it.
wow, okay.
And actually, I want, my vision is to
kinda wanna go
Right.
too.
Let me know. We can
I was gonna
carpool.
slide that over to Aria and be like, hey.
It's free, but it's on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw
Seneca
that.
Niagara.
It's the only down thing is that it's like.
What'd you say?
Seneca Niagara.
All right. Are you guys ready to come back together, or?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, also,
We have the most time.
I traded notes with Eleanor Coleman, who's the president of the Rotary there, and I was expecting that she'd make it. She thought she'd try to get involved with this. So we should probably touch base with her and see if she's got anything to suggest for any of these community outreach?
That would be great. So what do we say our third one was before we start sharing out? Because I only have two down. I have the family events and I have the parent academy. Are we going to say the other one is the work out with the shirts and trying to change the narrative, or is that the last one?
Well, doesn't the after-school program count in this, or no?
We could put it in there.
Well, I just wasn't sure because
No.
I thought the after-school extended learning program was part of this.
It definitely is, because we can do some events within that with the community. So I'll put that down.
Well, okay, I see what you're saying, community, and then that's just for the clubs for the after-school.
Alrighty. Thanks for your flexibility, as we spent 20 minutes on a 10-minute thing. All right. So our group can go first for our community engagement. We just came up with our top 3 from our previous action plans. So our top 3 are going to be family events. How can we demonstrate a more concerted effort to making sure our events bring in the community? So things we brainstormed was there's an annual Thanksgiving event where Thanksgiving dinner is served and there's a coat drive. So how can school better help to communicate that, to bring in the families so that it's not just happening on our campus. I mean, it's happening with Flint Street and the community. And then we talked about having another event, an adult play day, where we have adults come in and play games or do yoga, mindfulness, and maybe have it a station rotation where there's 3 major areas and adults go to those 3 major areas and play and do a game or play and have an activity, and then have a healthy snack to follow, and then they'll go to the next one so they can do it with their child or children. And the third event we have not quite ironed out, but we're thinking fall, winter, spring. The next major thing was the parent academy. So figuring out a way to survey parents and getting that up and going. And Amanda reminded me that part of the work of the community site coordinator, who should be joining us very soon, is going to be to do a needs assessment and see what parents want. And then they'll go out and seek those partnerships and bring it in. So hopefully they can help with that. The third one, we didn't quite iron out yet. We talked about more thoughtfully embedding the ELT with the community. But we still need to do some work on that one. Is there another team that would like to go next? Restorative Practices or Instructional Model with your top 3?
Sure, we can go next. Our top 3 are level 1 school safety, so it's we're focusing on family, crew, and the structures we have in place currently to build relationships with kids and staff. Next to our family, our circling. It's going on each and every morning for the first 20 minutes of the day at every grade level, K-8. We also talk about some of the updates with that. Revamping, we have a revamped ATS process that's more restorative, and I'm creating a mindfulness center, which is underway construction. We're working on that. Second priority is bringing outside agencies to work or train staff on community building. So some updates. Right now, currently, we have working on a professional book study for Dignity for All Students. All staff has received that text, and we'll be working out on how we're going to deliver that PD and the method of the PD that we're going to use, for the PD that we're going to use. So it's either going to be before school or after school or through CPT. VMA PD will be offered. We're also working with Whole Child Health to put all our staff through the poverty simulator, which is another piece. And then we're trying to get myself, Matt, and Omar certified as certified trainers through Prairie, working on that to offer some other in-house PD. So we can offer our own PDs to staff by becoming trainers. And then the third one we picked is develop a process for students to request circles for conflict resolution. Right now, we've come up with a method where we've dedicated spaces for kids to request for circles. So for middle school, for example, in 7 and 8, there'll be lockers where they can drop circle requests. And those 2 dedicated lockers will be for kids that want to have a restorative conversation with the staff or with another student. And then for 5th and 6th, they'll have a box in class as the preferred strategy for staff in 5 and 6, where kids can drop in a request for the circle process. And there's some other work we're doing, but that's the that's the preferred, or the 3 focus areas that we have for restorative team.
Thank you. Can you just call out the 3 specific areas? 'Cause I was documenting a lot of the things under them, so I want to make sure I have the 3 specific areas
Sure.
outlined.
Yep. The
Thank
3
you.
specific areas is family crew.
Okay.
Second is connecting with outside agencies to train staff.
Okay.
And the third one is develop a process for students to request circles
Thank
for
you.
conflict resolution. Yep. And just one thing I forgot to tell you, Monique, as you're getting that down for the third one, we do have a peer. We are currently have a group of students that are working on peer mediation to deliver peer mediation. So older kids delivering peer mediation to younger kids in the building through the circling process.
Thank you. And instructional team.
So, our big 3 that we picked out was, first one was culturally responsive teaching. We have a teacher at each grade level that is being trained in VMA strategies, and we have a VMA lead teacher. We also created the VMA room, so looking at developing those strategies within each of our classrooms. And how we can improve that area of instruction.
The measure for that one, it says to be decided, but we were wondering if maybe that group of people could brainstorm some qualitative and quantitative ways to kind of measure the increased use of the VMA in the classroom. But maybe that could be something that they come up with.
Our second one was refining the co-planning and co-teaching, including more collaboration during the day with teachers and staff. So we are starting to have 3 required common planning times during the week, where either admin or support staff are meeting with teachers and working on them with co-planning and co-teaching strategies. Also, that's how we're also delivering some professional development. And also, we are having extended grade level meetings the first week of every month. So teachers will be meeting with the support team, instructional support team and admin for an hour and a half that week all together to provide a longer professional development session each month.
Thank you.
And then the last one was looking for curriculum and programs that are aligned vertically, or just in general, improving our vertical alignment of instruction. And using programs that are proven to boost student achievement. So we had already listed down here some, like we purchased the new reading program so that will be more aligned in K through 6. And some of the writer program that we're using in K through 5, Zern is being used K through 5, IXL is being used 6 through 8, and then Really Great Reading is an intervention reading program. So those are programs that we're using that are aligned. But we're also adding in PDs for teachers. We have like a math lead on each team, and we're putting in for PD hours for them to get together and meet vertically every month. So hopefully we'll be approved for that. And we're thinking of doing it for ELA too.
That's a great idea.
Because then we have a vertical team that's meeting, and we can iron out and discuss together certain things that we want to do across the grade levels.
Thank you. Any questions or anything that needs to be answered from any one of the teams?
Is the type of reading program they have coordinated between the schools so that kids in all the schools are following the same process? Because that's been something that's been brought up before with the mobility we have in the district here. It's sometimes kid goes from one area to another and they're kind of lost in that things aren't going with the same model.
So that's one thing that the Curriculum Council for the district is now working on in terms of having one reading program for grades K-5. So we're just waiting to hear which program has been decided upon and then what is the implementation of that going to look like in terms of professional development for teachers and essentially instruction for students. So that's something that's in the works now.
Good.
Any other questions? So I guess the last thing is to just look at our calendars because what I'm thinking is that we're going to need to get to the point now where we're having meetings in between meetings. So now that we've come up with our big three for the year, I'm thinking we need to go back to our action plans and then talk about the timeline and the measurables for each one of our items. So our next meeting altogether is on the 21st, but I want to encourage each team to have a meeting before then so that we can get those things on paper in terms of implementation, timeline, and measures. Is everyone in agreement with that? So if you want to talk amongst your small teams and decide on what day you want to come together to meet, I will get these notes out by tomorrow, so you'll have them. And then we'll go ahead and conclude.
Good.
So is there any day, because I can send a meeting notice now that might work or won't work for this team to just get together to iron out our three things?
You already had a suggestion, or?
I do not.
okay.
Mm-mm.
Before the 21st is the...
Right, so we'll be able to share on the 21st.
I'm saying, instead of having 3 separate surveys go up.
Monday evenings work for me. I don't know
That's
about...
our option, our
Monday's okay as long as it's like before 6. I leave at 6.
Okay.
It's
So we'll meet on Mondays. What about you, John?
Well, so far, none of the 3 other CETs I sit on have scheduled yet. So
Oh, we're ahead of the game.
we're ahead of the game.
Go, School 19.
So tell them to have their meetings
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
We need you here.
Let's see, the second Thursday, third Thursday, and fourth Wednesday, I'm tied up in the evening. But other than that, it's, I'd have to look at my calendar.
What about Monday? We're looking at Monday.
Which Monday? Next Monday or?
Can't be the 4th. Well, it can be the 4th.
The 30th would work a little bit better for me, and we can also meet a little earlier. Like the school day ends for us at 4:30, but if you guys are able to come in and do maybe at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I can do that too. It doesn't have to be this time. So I'm
I
more
can do any
flexible.
time.
Mondays are very open for me.
So if we look at next week, Monday, I have a chunk of time open in the morning from like 10 until 12:30ish, and then I have from 2:30 to 4, and I need to help with dismissal. So if we can squeeze something in between 2:30 and 4, or then after school always works. Or
This
we can
is
go to the
next
next.
week?
Yeah, that's the 23rd.
Okay,
Oh,
did you say the
23rd.
23rd wasn't good
Oh,
for
no,
you?
that's okay. Next week's not. right.
Or we can go to the 30th just to put some more time and space in between it. Because we don't meet again until the 21st, which is almost like 5 weeks.
No.
So we can go into October, like we can do the
Maybe-
7th.
I was gonna say maybe do a little bit later because there's hardly anybody here right now. And if we put a date that's a little further in advance, that might give us a chance to get some more people RSVPing and attending if we give them a little more notice since they're not here. I don't know.
So
It'd be
on
nice to have more
the 7th, I'm here really late. I'm here to 9:30, but I'm teaching a class that's coming here at 7:30. So from dismissal to 7:30 works for me. From 2 to 4 works for me on the 7th.
That would be good for me.
From 2 to
4.
Like maybe 2 to 3 or 3 to 4.
Yeah.
What do you think, Samantha?
I can do either of those.
Let's do 2 to 3.
And by then I can talk to Gwen and see about the community Thanksgiving too,
And
get that squared away.
what day was that?
Like at least get the date and stuff like that.
And we said, I'm sorry, 2 to 3, right? Monday the 7th, inviting to meet. I'm gonna go click this back one so I can see what's anything like.
Yeah, my name's spelled wrong on that, but.
I'm sorry,
But you have it
correct me.
spelled right on this one, so. It's L-E.
Your last name?
Yeah, K-A-T-E-R-L-E.
I will correct that.
Go to IA on there. It's all right, I'm Italian.
All right, I think we're all set. If you guys are all
All
good.
right, thank you.
Thank you so much. I will send this.
Thanks, Monique.
I'll send this out in just a
I'm gonna go
moment.
ahead.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.